Hey guys, what's up? I'm here to give you another Dragon Ball Super review. I know I haven't done one of these in a while. They're long overdue, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm back and I'm here to give you another review. So, Dragon Ball Super Episode 31. Um, my general consensus is that it's a pretty good episode. Uh, Jocko gets treated like shit throughout the entire episode, but it's pretty good. So like it starts off with Jocko and he's basically like complaining about how his career is so stressful and stuff like that. He has to capture like the Galactic Patrol is telling him to capture criminals and do this and that and this and that, and he's like, "Oh, this job is so hard, right?" And then to relieve stress, he destroys some nearby asteroids, right? Um, Unfortunately, when he destroys the asteroids, he then sets off another alarm because those asteroids turned out to be like a galactic monument of sorts. So after lying about a criminal destroying the asteroids, he blasts off to Earth to meet up with Bulma because they agreed to search for the Super Dragon Balls. And so Jocko arrives at Bulma's house. Bulma treats him like shit. He makes some comments about uh, Bulma not being attractive and stuff like that, and she beats him, I think, a total of 4 times throughout this entire episode. Yeah, so that's like, yeah, she's got some issues definitely, but yeah. Anyway, so Jocko goes to Earth, talks about how it's does some more complaining and stuff like that. Gets Bulma to agree to come with him to Lord Zuno's planet. Zuno being apparently this all-knowing alien lord of sorts, who you ask him anything and he'll give you the answer. So yeah, they agree to go to Lord Zuno's planet, and on the way to Lord Zuno's planet, I really like the scene. Jocko reminisces about how young Bulma was and how much she's changed. And the scene cuts back to in Jocko the Galactic Patrolman. If you guys have read that manga, which by the way, if you haven't read Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, first off, you're at a disadvantage because you have no idea who the hell Jocko is by the time he's introduced in Fakatsu no F and Super. So yeah, but yeah, no, you should definitely read that if you haven't already. But yeah, anyway, so the scene cuts to a flashback Jocko has about Bulma as a toddler and how he thinks about how when Bulma managed his ship, like she had impressive piloting skills for someone her age, and he thinks to himself, and he thinks out loud, and he says that Bulma would have made a good addition to the Galactic Patrol, had she joined the ranks. And Bulma responds with, "Well, I'm pretty happy being the husband of Vegeta and the mother of Trunks and just being me and stuff like that." And and Jocko, and so yeah, see, I really like this scene. This scene was just it was a pretty neatly done scene. Jocko just thinking back to how much Bulma's grown over the years and stuff like that. It wasn't exactly sentimental per se, but it was a nice touch. Anyway, so they arrive at Lord Zuno's planet, which, by the way, Lord Zuno's planet. I know this might sound weird, but Lord Zuno's planet reminds me of one of those planets in freaking like Super Mario Galaxy, like those planets that are shaped in like all sorts of weird, unique shapes and sizes and stuff like that. In this case, Zuno's planet is shaped like it's shaped like a freaking toy chest or something like that. Like it's weird. It's a unique, but it's also kind of weird. But anyway, so we go on to Lord Zuno's planet. I think it's a pretty neatly done. I think the artwork and the design is pretty neat. It's perpetual autumn and stuff like that, and you have the the Oriental style buildings and stuff like that. Like I really like that. And the aliens though that Jocko and Bulma meet can only be described as frigging like Oriental style Pillsbury Doughboys. Like, there's no other way to describe how these creatures are shaped than Pillsbury style Doughboys. I guess that's all I can describe of them. But yeah, no. So Jocko meets Bulma. No, no, Jocko doesn't meet Bulma. Jocko meets these creatures. He talks about how he wants to meet Lord Zuno, and they inform him that he hasn't made an appointment, so he can't see them in another 7 years. Anyway, and by the way, this is easily the best scene in the entire episode, is when a criminal whom the Galactic Patrol were talking to Jocko about earlier in the episode, a criminal named Genkemen or whatever, he shows up, this red frog-like dude, he shows up, and he has an appointment with Lord Zuno, and, and Jocko just kind of wrestles with the decision of what he should do with the criminal. He says, if we defeat him, we could take his appointment and get information about the super Dragon Balls, right? However, if we still defeat him, I'll be left without an excuse for who destroyed the galactic monuments. Because remember, Jocko had just destroyed those asteroids, which turned out to be a very important monuments, or at least that's in the subs I read. They said monument. They used the word monuments earlier in the episode. He couldn't blame that on the criminal if he had apprehended him. So, and Bulma even tells him after they find out that they can't see Lord Zuno, she's like, oh, it's okay, we don't have to get the Super Dragon Balls. I'm sure that Beerus wouldn't really make any dangerous wishes with them. I'm sure he was just joking when he said he'd destroy the universe and stuff like that. Um, and Bulma's pretty chill about it. She's like, hey, come on, Jocko, let's go home. Let's just, 7 years is too long. Let's just go home. And as she's walking away, and as the criminal, the Genkamen, the frog dude, whatever the fuck his name is, I don't know. And as the criminal is about to see Lord Zuno, and as Bulma is walking away towards the ship, Jocko is still wrestling with a decision like, should I do the right thing? Should we see Lord Zuno? Should we just go back and pretend this never happened? And finally, at the critical moment, like, he decides to stand up to the frog guy. I know, I don't know what I can't pronounce his name, I don't know what his name is, I'll just call him the frog guy. So yeah, Jocko stands up to the frog guy. The frog guy threatens to kill one of the aliens there, and by the way, the music that plays during the scene, oh my god, this is like one of my all-time favorite DBZ OSTs by Norihito Sumitomo, okay? The Unbreakable Determination, the same music that played in episode 11, at the end of episode 11, when Goku powered up after almost being killed by Beerus. Oh, okay. This music and this scene just blend together like so perfectly, okay? Jocko's like measures the distance between him and the criminal, and he's like, oh, from this distance I'll probably be able to beat you before you manage to fire a shot, right? And he's visibly intimidating. He's visibly intimidating you know what I'm talking about. He's visibly intimidating the criminal, and he defeats him and he incapacitates him, and at the end they manage to see Lord Zuno. Yeah, so that was really a neat scene. My favorite scene throughout the entire episode was Jocko kicking ass, because he was like, the rest of him is just him being treated like shit, right? So yeah, that was easily the best scene in the entire episode, is Jocko managing to get to really kick some ass. That was my favorite scene. But yeah, there was that, and so they see Lord Zuno, and they find out they have to kiss him to get a question, and amusingly, Zuno grants Bulma more questions because she's a woman, obviously, and apparently, and so anyway, Bulma asks him about the Super Dragon Balls, yeah, and Zuno talks about the Super Dragon Balls and how there was this man-made dragon and why they are and how many there are and blah 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 blah, and he's talking like a mile a minute, and Bulma's only able to get so much information before he decides to stop speaking, and then he decides not to grant them any more questions, and then they get thrown out. So yeah, that's that. It's that was a the whole dialogue between Jocko, Bulma, and Zuno was pretty hilarious. Jocko asks Zuno what Bulma's bra size is, and Zuno's like, they're like 87 centimeters. No, wait, 83 centimeters. They used to be 87 centimeters, but they've fallen significantly in the last several years. I thought that was pretty funny, sort of a, lewd sort of humor we used to get in the early Dragon Ball days. It was pretty funny. So yeah, Jocko and Bulma head back to Earth with the information. They didn't manage to get the information they needed, but you know, uh, Jocko is heading back out to another mission. Bulma supplies him with cheese and milk, showing that she's not totally she doesn't totally hate him after all. So yeah, that was a nice moment. Bulma helping Jocko out after treating him like crap. Oh, that was a that was a nice moment. And then the end of the episode, and we find out that Jocko told Goku and Vegeta about Bulma's bra size, and Bulma is not too pleased about that. But yeah, anyway, so the scene cuts to Jocko and the frog guy, the frog criminal, and he's still considering lying about who was it that destroyed the monuments, but he decides that he must stand up. But he decides that he has to take responsibility for his actions in the end, and decides to write an apology note to the Galactic Patrol for what he did. Anyway, so yeah, all in all, this was a neat episode. It wasn't. It started off pretty slow. Nothing really going on. Nothing really interesting. Again, Jocko being treated like shit. That was pretty much it. But then you got about the Jocko reminiscing about young Bulma's younger years and Jocko kicking ass. Best scenes in the entire episode. Okay, especially that last scene, Jocko kicking ass. That scene, that music, oh, that was so good. That was really good. Really just masterfully done scene. Oh, by the way, the animation I've noticed is a lot better here than it is in the revival of F arc. Uh, Toei seems to be really stepping up when it comes to animation, which I really like. It shows for taking more pride in their work, in their artwork at least. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Um, oh, also, how can I forget the preview of episode 32? We see Team Champa, and if you've seen my previous video where I talk about Team Champa, you'll know that I like a lot of their designs. I think they're very Toriyama-esque, very diverse. Like some look goofy, like the big yellow bear, and some look badass, like that one guy who looks like cooler. I think that one light purple color dude. You know what I'm talking about. The one who looks like cooler, and the mini Frieza too, and the Saiyan too. I like their designs, and I can't wait for the first round, and I can't wait for episode 32. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Uh, Comment, rate, subscribe, all that jazz. Um, did you like this episode? Did you appreciate the Jocko moments? Was it just filler to you, or did you find something, or did you, like me, find something to appreciate? Just leave a comment below. Let us discuss this. Peace. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and don't forget to rock the dragon.